Hi, my name's Alex Wilson. I work for Re-Leased, and we're a cloud-based property management software platform that enables landlords and managing agents to move their property management into the more digital era. So by centralizing everything into one source of truth, connecting your full landscape from your property and tenancy information, all of your maintenance and facilities tasks, inspections, reporting and analytics, and all of the financial side as well. And that's really important for us. And I think why we exist is because we've seen a lot of the industry today stuck on quite legacy systems, and we're really trying to move people into this modern era of property management, but enable you to do it in an intuitive and simple way still, with having everyone accessing the one system. So I'm going to dive into Re-Leased now and talk you through the platform. We do have a couple of offerings of the system here, geared towards landlords and managing agents, depending on whether you're collecting the rent and income into your own centralized ledger, or whether you're collecting it into a client account and dispersing out and collecting it on behalf of other owners. So the main concept and the idea behind Re-Leased all stays the same. So the way that the system is structured, and you'll see from the platform as we go through, is that you have your main company or multiple companies, and within those companies, you have different properties and then units and tenancies in those particular properties as well. And it's really important to note that, because that's what helps drives a lot of the workflows and a lot of the information in Re-Leased. So you'll see here, I'm accessing our pure cloud-based system just on my browser here, and straight away I get presented with my calendar-driven dashboard. This is where all of your key tasks, lease events, dates are all going to fall into based on what's stored at that property and tenancy level. Now, it's really powerful because I can go in here and actually click into individual tasks, see the details around those specific tasks, and then take action based off those tasks as well. So whether it's a maintenance task, a review, term expiry, lease break, whatever it may be, it's all going to be driven into this dashboard here for you to then go and action and perform that relevant task and go through the workflow to do that. With the dashboard itself, there's going to be a number of different reminders that pop up to alert you to make sure that you're on top of your key tasks and nothing is ever missed in the system. So I can see here I've got a number of different reminders, and the system also integrates with other platforms like Office 365, Gmail, so you can have those reminders go through to your teams on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to make sure that you're in control of what's happening in your portfolio. Now, the whole system is governed by roles and permissions, and you can have as many users using Re-Leased as you like. And this is really important because you can see here, I'm on my calendar, and this is where all of the tasks and events are going to crop up for the assets that I manage. But we also have a global calendar where you can come in here and see what the team has got going on as well, and drill down into the individual people in that team to see what they have. On the system itself, you can go in and actually control those user permissions by drilling into the individual module that they can go and see and access. This is really important, not only to manage your own internal team, but some of our clients are giving access to maintenance teams or businesses who are going in and accessing just certain parts of the property or tasks related to them, or even legal or insurance teams to go in and purely see documents that relate to the information that they need. You'll see over on the right-hand side, I've got all of my overdue task tabs. So this is where my task is going to sit, and I can again quickly come in here and action those tasks. And then I've got some further quick access hubs around arrears, maintenance, inspections, and reminders. The final point you'll see here on the dashboard is around the analytics. Really good about the analytics here is that you can come in and get a snapshot of what's happening across the portfolio. So I can see things like occupancy levels, top 10 earning tenancies. I can see income forecasts, year-to-date expenses, income versus expenditure. And all of these can be completely configurable to how you want them to be displayed, whether it's against individual properties, whether it's across the whole portfolio, whatever time period you want to show them in. It's really configurable to your own information that you can then download and use for other meetings and for displaying elsewhere as well. That's a quick overview on the dashboard. So as you can see, it's really easy to navigate around Re-Leased. So using the tab at the top here, I'm going to drill down into my properties list. And straight away, if you've got multiple entities as a landlord, perhaps, you can drill down and actually go into the different tab here and see those from a list, as well as searching by different types of properties in the system too. We also have an integration with Google Maps whereby you can go and see really clearly all of your properties that you manage on a map here to get snapshot information around that particular asset and property. So if I go into one here, for example, I can drill down into that unit, see the relevant information here, show some advanced details, and actually see all of the tenants' information too. Their rent information, lease information, terms, and the little color bar at the bottom here is actually going to demonstrate how long is left on the lease, and that's going to change color as that decreases as well. Now, you can be working in multiple different tabs in Re-Leased, whether you're looking at the map here and looking at key information, working through tasks as well. And I'm just going to drill into one of my properties now to show you the sort of information that's stored at that level. Using the global search here, I can drill into a property itself. So Mill Road Industrial Park, one of my commercial properties. And you get that key information and summary information right here at the forefront of the screen, like just what we saw on the maps level. You can have as many different tenancies occupying the property as you like, and they can actually sit within different areas of the property as well. So this is a really good part to actually show you the breakdown of that particular property, whether it's an office block with different floors, whether it's a commercial unit, an industrial park that has different units within there. I can see the full site map to show me which of my units are occupied by which of my tenants. You can also see here unoccupied or vacant units as well. And this is really powerful because this is what drives our service charge budgets to show the different apportionments for the budgets and for the tenants and units too. Down the left-hand side, you'll see a whole host of information that you can drill down into, whether that's contact information stored against a particular property. So you can see tenants, contractor information, insurance, owners, but also see a full list of all tasks, whether that's maintenance and inspections. Often you'll want to jump in and see what's been incomplete or what's been completed against the property, and I can do that right here from that particular property page. We have a full maintenance hub that I'll touch on really briefly, and I can let you know that we can manage all sorts of different types of maintenance because you can have your own configured type in the system. You can send out quote requests, work orders, purchase orders, all from the Re-Leased system here, and manage that full end-to-end maintenance process here. Dropping back into some more of the information here, some useful things is being able to actually have all of your documents in one place too. You can set up different folder structures, drag and drop documents into the system here. So if I just bring an example document in, drag and drop that in, and save it against that property or at the tenancy level too, to then email and download out from the system. One thing that we find really useful for working collaboratively is our notes function. So being able to go in here and actually store and type, being able to actually come in here and store and type any particular type of note, whether it's around arrears, for example, it might be a dispute. And what you can do is actually set up in here and say, tenant X is due to pay on the 1st, for example. I might assign this to one of my team members, so I might say, Jamie, please call on the 5th to discuss. Okay, you can actually even then set reminders for those particular notes and generate tasks and reminders for yourself or for your team as well. Okay, really, really useful to then actually working collaboratively. And this is especially good because if you've got members of your team who are away on holiday, who are off sick, or if you've got a change in personnel, nothing's ever going to be missed because you can delegate tasks and notes to different members of your team or to new starters as well. You'll see here when I refresh the page, it comes live into the system to show you the note that I've just created, and you've got a full audit trail then of all of the information that you've stored and tracked against that particular property. All of this information here can be stored in the system, and there's no limit on the number of documents or images in here as well. And similarly, you get this sort of information when you go at a tenancy level too. So if I just drill down into one of my tenants here, ALM, you can see down the left-hand side a full set of information around their terms and breaks. I can see all their information on their rent and service charge. Again, against that particular tenant, you get the task information, documents, notes, and a full history of what's happened against that particular tenant too. Really good for giving you a snapshot of information that's clearly visible to you. You don't have to go through multiple different clicks or complex screens to see the information you need right at your fingertips. Just dropping back into the property itself now and talking a little bit about the finance side. So whether you're a landlord and you're collecting rent yourself and using a system alongside like a Xero or QuickBooks or an accountancy software, or if you're a managing agent and you're collecting the rent into a central client account, you can manage the full income and expenditure process in Re-Leased. You can see down here on the left on my invoicing side, the system's going to automatically generate the rental demands for you and send those out automatically. You have the option to send them out at different time periods, depending on the billing frequency and how far in advance you want them to be sent out. You also have the option to put them into different approval processes as well. And these are all going to be raised, and you can access them all here in your income and expenses tab. I can see here I get a full overview of everything that's been approved, awaiting approval, paid, and overdue, and that's whether it's against the income or the expenditure too. Now, if you're using a system like Xero, for example, the demands are automatically going to flow through for you to then reconcile in Xero, and that's going to automatically flow back and update the information so that you can then go and manage the arrears process if any of your tenants fall into arrears, and see a full live update of what's paid, what's overdue, and a standing of the particular tenants and properties financially. If you're a managing agent and you're managing one centralized client account, you can do that here in Re-Leased. The demand raising is exactly the same, but what you'll do is manage the actual client accounting in the system here, and you can go in and run the reconciliation through Re-Leased through importing your bank statement. We've built the system so it's going to automatically read your bank transactions here on the left-hand side from the statement and match that with the rental demands and the demands that have been raised in Re-Leased to go ahead and then easily reconcile in the system here. And we build a nice traffic light system to determine whether it's a perfect match, whether it's matched, but the reference is slightly off, or whether there's a slight difference in the amount received versus what was due. You can go in and actually find and match and allocate those funds to the relevant invoice as well, and do things like split payments too. What's really good around the income and expenses side, if I go back into the main expenses here, from the expenditure side, we have a couple of options whereby you can come in and enter in one-off expense invoices for particular work, allocate it to the relevant company and property, and start filling in those details around which property it relates to, who it's from, for example, maybe already someone you've got in the system here, add a description, and the system integrates with the chart of accounts, whether that's in your accountancy platform or whether your full chart of accounts that you're using for service charges and other expenditure and full expenses in the system. You can send the expenses invoice from here and set that up and put that into an approval process. What we've also built is the ability to process bulk expenses. So I can go in here and actually drag and drop. Let's say you've received a number of expenses from a number of different contractors. You can drag and drop those into the system here and then start processing them live on screen. So I can see the invoice over here on the right hand side and actually then start allocating it to the relevant property, who it's from. I can add the unit price, select the different nominal code and account it relates to, particularly if this is a service charge budget, and again put that into an approval process. What this means for the team is that you can come on board into Re-Leased and actually do live approvals online on Re-Leased. So no longer having to print things out, manually stamp them, send them off to one of your team, particularly relevant to today's working, whereby you need to come onto a system and actually go and see, what have I got awaiting approval that I need to actually go and then process. Okay, drill into here, and if there's any changes that you need to make at this point, you can go in, see the invoice live on screen here, and actually make any small amendments or edits you need to do around the account or the unit price, or if you need to just go and save and approve that. That's just a kind of a high level overview there on some of the income and expenditure side of things. To tell you a little bit around the service charge budget, so we have a really comprehensive service charge management system, whereby you can come up in here and set up multiple different budgets, whether they're multi-scheduled, you can manage utility meters, or even if it's direct on charges. And I can go into one of my example budgets here and see the relevant details for that particular budget, see the budgeted cost, and go into further detail around the different apportionments for that particular budget itself for my tenants and for those units. So I can see here that one of my units, unit 4, for example, is occupied for a start for 149 days, becomes vacant, and then is reoccupied. What the system is going to do is it's going to automatically calculate any concessions or landlord liabilities based off the information that is here in the budget as well. Moving on from some of the budgeting side then, so we also have a whole reporting module where you can come in and see a full list of reports at property and tenancy level. You can see some financial reports, right down to some of the service charge budget reports as well, to view live budget versus actuals. And all of these reports are really configurable to yourself. So being able to come up and see what status that particular task might be for one of my events reports. You have the control to see that across individual companies or multiple. And coming in here and actually seeing things like, okay, how many rent reviews, term expiries, lease dates breaks do I have coming up? I'm just going to include them all for this example. And I can do this across individual properties or across all of my portfolio. And you're going to be able to generate all of these live on screen to give you live data that you can then drill down into even further to show 16 term expiries, for example, and drill into those even further. That's a really quick overview on the system there. We also have a set of mobile apps that sit alongside for you to be able to track and manage all of the property information, the tasks. You can have your tenants actually request maintenance through our tenant app. Your property managers can manage that maintenance, manage the inspections, notes, all sorts of different tenancy and property information right through the app while they're on the move and on site. But the whole idea with the Re-Leased platform is that it's one source of truth and one centralized property management system that you can come into and all of your team can access all of the live information. We cover the full landscape, connecting your property managers and asset management and accounts teams, and really making sure that that workflow and that process around expenditure, processing bulk expenses or online approvals is really streamlined today, and right down to some more of the complex elements around multi-schedule service charge budgets and concessions. Happy to jump into some more detail, and if you're interested, please do reach out to myself. And we're happy to give you a more detailed overview of Re-Leased and see how it could fit your portfolio and your requirements today. Thank you very much.